Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you've seen some of my other videos, you sort of get the picture that I try to do things myself as much as I can, save a bit of money. This right here, not four-wheel drive specific, not a patrol part. It's actually off the girlfriend's Hyundai Getz, but it's an idler pulley, tensioner pulley from the alternator, from the air conditioning, sorry. And it relates to just about any motor out there. It's going to have some sort of a tensioner pulley for the belt drive. The bearing inside is shot. I don't know if you can hear it. It's pretty rattly. It's just worn out. And Online Auto Parts want $123, I think it was, for a new one of these. They don't sell the bearing separately. You get the press pulley, the bearing, the whole assembly. I mean, realistically, it's a shaft with a bolt through it and a little cheap press pulley. I like to try and save a bit of money where I can. I don't know how much Hyundai would charge, probably a lot more. So I went to the bearing shop. My local bearing shop happens to be the Bolt King in Capalaba. I'm sure wherever you are, you're going to have something within an hour of you. And it cost me a whole $4 for a new bearing. So if you don't know how to do this, keep watching. I'll pop the old bearing out. It's a press fit, so you've got to pop it out with a hammer and a punch. Put the new bearing in, and basically just saved ourselves over $100. I need a hammer and a punch. Any sort of punch will do. Sockets. Starting to get locked up and done. Piece of wood, so we're not going to damage the bits and pieces that we want to keep. And if you don't have a solid bench, then just do it on the ground like I'm doing right now. Looks like a 14. Take note of which way that pulley's sitting and where these parts are actually going to go back on. It's probably easiest if you put it on the ground as it's going to go back together, or at least put that back on there, and just take note that the open side of or the closed side, sorry, of the carrier is facing outwards. Ideally, you want a socket big enough to go around the outside of that carrier, which I don't think I'm going to be in luck. No, I don't have a big enough socket in my kit right now, so there's another method you can use, and just put two sockets to make a gap, so that you can then punch that bearing out without anything behind it stopping you, and just work. If you had a socket underneath, you could work around in circles, but because I've only got a socket either side, you're just going to have to go one side at a time. Don't try and get it all in one go. Even though that bearing is buggered, you don't want to distort the carrier. Easy as. Pop our new $4 bearing in. And this time you definitely want to try and size up a socket that's the same as the outer ring of the bearing, or close to, slightly smaller. You can use the old bearing instead and lock it in like that, but the socket gives you a little bit more room to hold on to. And just get it started nice and slowly, so that you're not putting it in all skew-iffy. and you can drive it home, sort of working the hammer around in a circle so that it's not trying to push one side down more than the other. If you notice that it's not going in evenly, just work more on that side. It needs a bit more work. In. Make sure it's seated all the way around. The design of this, the carrier itself doesn't actually help hold the bearing in place, so I'm going to make sure that's driven all the way home. Just check everything's happy. Remember, we had the closed side of the carrier facing outwards. Put the dust caps back on. Not back on. Done. Nice, happy, new, quiet. Good as new. Don't need to spend $120 on that. That just cost me $4. I can now stick that back in the girlfriend's Hyundai and have the air conditioning happening again. Thanks for watching.